Every time you interact with a senior stakeholder and talk about capabilities of generative AI plus LLMs, one question that will come your way is how it is going to help me. How can you give me a tangible benefit out of it? In this video, we are going to discuss about this topic, see some of the areas that will help you to do so, and go into a couple of topics which are very important from this perspective. Let's start. If you want to deliver value to your clients and stakeholders through generative AI and LLMs, as of December 2024, I have listed down these 10 topics that you must be aware of, or you should be very good at being a data scientist. Now, why I have listed these 10 topics is I am going to cover all these 10 topics one by one in my upcoming video based on your interest. So today we are going to focus on two topics out of these 10 topics. One is known as in context learning and another is known as prompt engineering. These are very basic and fundamental things you should know if you want to build LLM powered applications. Remember, here we are talking about delivering value to the end user. You can't deliver value to the end user with plain vanilla model of whatever size. So if you want to deliver value, you have to embed these 10 things or a combination of these or few of these in your model. So we are going to touch base upon all these things, but let's first start in context learning and prompt engineering. Other topics, I have already covered some of these. If you want to see, for example, RAG, simply go to Google, YouTube and search Unfold Data Science RAG. You are going to get a RAG video. For example, federated learning, you can search for Unfold Data Science federated learning, and you can just pause video for some time and read these topics one by one. Whichever topics you are interested in more, just ping in the comment and I'll create video on that. But eventually all these are very, very important. So first of all, why all these things I have written and why I am talking again and again about delivering value through LLM, delivering value through generative AI. Let's try to take an example of a fresher who joins job on day one. Okay, so there is a fresher guy who joins on the day one job in an organization. On the day one of the job only, the manager tells to the fresher guy, can you give me a report? Okay, can you give me a report or a sales report? Can you give me a sales report for for November 2024? So right now we are in December 2024. What the manager is telling to this fresher guy is, can you give me a sales report for November 2024? You can think of this fresher guy as a large language model. When I say large language model, you can think it as a pre-trained model. For example, all the GPT models or Google provided models and things like that. Not any fine tuning done, nothing extra done. The plain model I'm talking about, the base model. You can think this fresher guy as the base model. This fresher guy knows how to write a SQL query. This fresher guy knows how to generate a report in Tableau. This fresher guy knows how to present it in a PowerPoint presentation. This fresher guy knows how to write a good email and send it to the manager. All these things this fresher guy knows. But what this fresher guy does not know is in the database, in the database, where is the data stored for sales? Because it's the first day of the fresher guy. So somebody needs to tell to the fresher guy, hey fresher guy, in this database, if you go to this table, table 1, okay, and if you see in column 1, you are going to get this information. This information this guy does not have. If you compare it with how LLMs work, LLMs knows how to do basic things. LLM knows how to write, articulate, summarize, express. All these things LLM knows. But what for we want to use LLM? We want to use LLM for our specific needs. And if we want to use LLM for our specific needs, we need to feed this information somehow to this fresher guy, also known as LLMs. I will take a pause here and I will Just want you to digest this fact. LLM in its base form, however billion parameters, it's highly unlikely that it is going to deliver the value, the tangible value that end user is expecting in enterprise level applications, in applications that you deliver to your clients and stakeholders. I'm not talking about finding some answers through for general purpose things. I'm talking about industry specific applications. So you need to somehow feed this information into your large language models, then you are going to get the right result. Whatever topics I have listed here, right? Topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, topic 4, topic 5, all these topics are related to this one particular thing only. How do you feed this information to the LLM, or how do you make LLM work in the way you want LLM to work? Fine. In context of this, I'm going to talk about two things here. First is known as in context learning. In context learning, and second is known as prompt engineering. In context learning, and second is known as prompt engineering. I'm sure you are hearing about this a lot nowadays. We are going to make it absolutely clear how these two things are related, how these two things are same, how they are different, and how they work together to produce a better result. We are going to see in the interface also ChatGPT, and we are going to see some codes as well. In context learning, there are related concepts such as zero shot, one shot, and few shot. I'm just going to go to my ChatGPT prompt and show you what is the meaning of one shot, zero shot, few shot. What is the meaning of prompt engineering? Then we are going to go to the Python code and understand these in real. And then I'm going to do a comparison of these two. Okay. So let's go to ChatGPT first. This is my ChatGPT here. And I have written some things in my note here. Okay. So let me pull my notes here. If you see here, right, what I want the ChatGPT to do is I want the ChatGPT to summarize this sentence. Okay, so I'm saying summarize the following text. So I'm giving some text here. Summarize the following text. Okay, so I'm just zooming in for your so that you have no difficulty in viewing. Summarize the following text. The cat sat on the mat looking out window at the birds fly. Let me send this to ChatGPT. Okay, what ChatGPT is saying in the summary is the cat sat on the mat watching birds through the window. The cat sat on the mat looking out of the window at birds flying by. So, how it is summarizing this? The cat sat on the mat watching birds through the window. What I have done just now is an example of zero shot prompting. Okay. What is zero shot prompting is you do not supply any example of what you are expecting from the LLM. So this thing that I'm giving here is known as context or prompt. And this thing that you see here is known as response or completeness. So these things I'll be keep using in my upcoming videos as well. Context or prompt, completeness or response. So you simply give a prompt, you get a response. This is called as a zero shot prompt. How this is different from one shot prompt is very simple. In one shot prompt, you give an example and you ask ChatGPT to do something. So see this carefully. In example, you are saying text, the dog chased the ball across the park barking excitedly. Summary, a dog played fetch in the park. Now summarize this task. Text, the same text that we gave above. So what we are doing here, we are giving an example and a summary. So this is called one shot prompt, one shot prompting. Okay. And since I am trying to make system learn through the context, just now I told you what is context. Context is this. Okay. So um, in context learning means in the did I say this by mistake context? If I said, then this is context basically. This is response or completeness. Okay. So this is context or prompt or query, whatever you say it. So when you give example here, right, this is called one shot prompting, and also in context learning has started to happen. This is an example of in context learning. I am trying to make model learn through my context. Example of one shot prompting. So if you see a little bit of change in the response now. The cat watched birds through the window in a mat. So this is a one shot prompting. Now I can give two or more examples as well. So previously I gave one example. In this context, in this query, in this prompt, I am giving two examples. Example 1, the dog chased, the same example. Example 2, the bird flew away after the cat started. Okay. And I am summarizing. This is basically a summarizing exercise. And then the context that I want to summarize, the prompt and the sentence, right? So what system will do is it will give me a different. The cat observed birds flying from its spot on the mat. So I showed you three examples: zero shot prompt, one shot prompt, few shot prompt. In few shot prompt, you can have typically 2 to 10 examples. Here I have given 2, you can have 10 examples. All these will come under the bucket of what? Under the bucket of in context learning. And these are the example of in context learning. Now, how is prompt engineering different from in context learning? A very conceptual thing, minor difference, but you have to understand. If you see this prompt, right? If you see this prompt, what I'm telling to system is, you are creative storyteller, summarize the following text in an engaging way. So if you see this, right, I'm not giving any examples as such. I'm simply telling system, this is what I expect from you. And then I give the, my text. This is an example of prompt engineering. Here, I'm not giving any in context learning. I'm not using zero shot, one shot, few shot. I'm simply saying, this is what I want you to do, and this is the way I want you to do. Fine. Another example, if you see here, summarize the following text in 2 bullet points. This is an example of prompt engineering. Some people confuse between how in context learning or zero shot, one shot, few shot differ from prompt engineering. This is how it differs. Okay. Zero shot, one shot, few shot examples. Prompt engineering, no examples. Just a better way of telling to system what is needed from you. So you can see the response from the system is like this. Fine. Let us do the same thing through some code and the concept will be very clear to you. Let me go to my Google Colab here and I will give you this notebook in Unfold Data Science GitHub. You can go to Unfold Data Science GitHub, click there. I know it is a little messy. I will try to clean it, don't worry. But I will create a generative AI folder and put all these things there, okay? So basically what I'll be doing is I'll be doing a summarizing dialog task here. Same way, like here also we are summarizing some text. Here I will try to summarize some dialogues, okay? Dialogues between two person I want to summarize. So I have run it just now, so I will just walk you through this, not rerun it actually. If you see, I'm installing some packages from transformers. I'm taking some scores which can help me to evaluate my model later. Okay. I'm taking data set, pipeline, and the score to evaluate the model. So what data I'm using is, what model I'm using is Flentify base model from Google. Okay. This is a good known model for summarization kind of task. What task I want to do? Summarization. What model I'm using? Google Flentify base. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a data. So if you see here, there is a data called daily dialog. I'm loading this data and I'm trying to show you one example from this data, how it will look like. So if you can see here, this is the dialogue between two person. For example, first person says, say Jim, how about going for a few beers after dinner? This is tempting, but it's really good for our fitness. What do you mean? It will help us to relax. So this is a conversation between two people. Okay, and there are many conversations in this daily dialogue, um, daily dialogue data set basically. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take three dialogues here and I'm going to show you example of zero shot, one shot, and few shot, and then we will do prompt engineering as well. First of all, what I want to do is I want to prepare the data so that all these commas are gone and it simply comes as one big string. Okay, one big string as a dialogue. So if you see, I have done that. Dialogue one is this large string. Okay, conversation between two people. Dialogue two is this: can you do push-ups? Something about push-ups. Dialogue three is, can you study with radio on? Something about studying with radio on. Okay. Other person says, no, I listen in the background music. What is the difference? Things like that. So there are three dialogues in front of us. What we are going to do is we are going to run our in context learning and prompt engineering. First of all, if you see, I have taken the summarizer module from my model C pipeline summarization. I have taken in summarizer. To this summarizer, if I give the dialogue, right, it will simply give me the summarized version of the dialogue. So let's do that. I have three dialogues. If I come here, evaluate the model's performance, zero shot example. Dialogue 1 is what I'm giving to the model. Fine. And mean max length and mean length is when the response comes, what should be the mean and max length. Do sample false is basically, it is applicable. This true false is applicable if you want to play around with temperature, top P, top K, those kind of things. Okay. So I'll keep it simple. Do sample is equal to false. When I run my first dialogue, if you see the first dialogue, right, dialogue between two people about going to gym, having a beer, things like that, right? So the output here from the basic model is Jim and Jim are going for a beer after dinner. They are going to the gym to play ping pong. Jim and Sally are going dancing. This is the plain model. I'm not doing anything now in the model. This is zero shot. Okay. Now on dialogue 2, if I do the same thing, dialogue 2 is about push-ups. Okay. On dialogue 2, if I do the same thing, right? I think I can do 30 push-ups in a minute, but I think it's impossible. That is the response I'm getting from the model, summarized response. Fine. Both these are example of zero shot. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to supply an example just like I was showing you here. Okay. If you go to here, what we did in one shot, if you remember, this I'm highlighting now is one shot. One example and then the task. Let's do that here. If you see here, I'm preparing a one shot dialogue. One shot dialogue is basically first observation, that is the first train zero is basically nothing but the first dialogue. Okay. And I am giving a summary here by myself. I'm not taking the model summary. So one short prompt I'm preparing here, if you see, example is basically the dialogue, the first dialogue. Summary I'm giving manually by myself. I can change it also. And I'm saying now summarize the dialogue, and I'm giving the second dialogue. Second dialogue is this dialogue. Okay. Same thing I'm doing. Example, summary, now summarize the second dialogue. So if I do this right, one short prompt, just to split and show you, example, summary, then task, and then summary is blank. One shot generated summary, if you see here, right? Model generated summary, one shot is, I can do 30 push-ups in a minute. I think that's impossible. If you do exercise every day, you can make it. So it looks like a better summary actually. If you read the dialogue here, can you do push-ups? Of course I can. It's a piece of cake, believe it or not. I can do 30 push-ups in a minute. Really, I think that's impossible. You mean 30 push-ups? Yeah, it's easy. If you do exercise every day, you can make it too. So the summary for that is, I can do 30 push-ups. I think that's impossible, other person. If you do exercise every day, you can make it. So it could be better, but doesn't look bad. Now what happens in few short? I'm going to provide two examples. What I'm doing here, I'm taking first dialogue, I'm taking second dialogue, and then on the third dialogue, I'm asking for the response, right? So if you see what is the third dialogue here, third dialogue is about radio. Can you study with radio on? No, I listen to background music. What's the difference? The radio has too many commercials. That's true. But then you have to buy things like that. Okay. So let's see the output of few short prompts. So few short output is, the radio has too many commercials and you have to buy a record player. Here few things you can play around with. First, increase the examples. Second, play around with max length and min length, and play around with do false, true and false. Fine. What I'm doing in this block of the code is, I'm going to compare the performance of one shot, zero shot, few shot on same dialogue. So on dialogue 3, I'm going to compare the performances of all these three things. Fine. So what I'm going to do, first, zero shot output, I'm taking summarizer dialogue 3. One shot prompt, I'm giving one shot dialogue output, and then dialogue 3 as input. Then I'm taking one shot output. Few short prompt, I'm giving one dialogue, second dialogue, both summary and third dialogue. And then I'm taking few short out. So it is giving me some warning, but it is giving me results also. And I'm giving a hypothetical summary against which I can compare all these three. And if I compare with this score right now, if you see in my notes, right, there is a separate topic for different metric here. See, KPI for LLM performance and optimization. So I'm going to take a separate session on what are the different metric on which you can compare LLM performances. But one of those metric is called rogue score. And here you can see, right, hypothetical summary, and then I'm giving the entry. So you can see there is some precision coming, F measure coming, and recall coming. Different things are coming based on which we can see. If you see, right, two outputs are exactly same, one shot and few shot. This output and this output is exactly same. Hence the score is also same. So I mean, no need to worry about that. If we change little bit here and there, it will change. And if you see carefully, right, I have used a different kind of this as well. Some kind of parameters I had changed, if I remember correctly, somewhere. Okay. Anyway, if those two are same also, we don't care much. We are just interested in seeing how the models are tuned based on in-context learning. All these are example of in-context learning. If I want to do a little bit of prompt engineering here, what I can do is I can do a role-based prompt. For example, you are a helpful assistant. Summarize the following dialogue in one sentence. And in dialogue, I can give my own dialogue 3, or I can have an instructional prompt. Summarize the dialogue below in exactly 10 words. I can have a stylistic prompt. Summarize the dialogue below as a poem. All these things I can do on either my dialogue 3, or here is another dialogue. I can play around with that as well. So what we have learned till now is what are the basic differences between in-context learning and prompt engineering. For simplicity, let's write it in a note so that you never forget that. Okay. So in context versus prompt engineering. What is the purpose of both? This is a temporary learning. Okay. In context is what? Temporary, not a permanent, because you are giving in the context. Prompt engineering, if you do nicely, it can work model behavior. So I'm writing in one way, it can help model behave in little different way. Fine. The examples of this could be, if somebody asks in you in an interview, zero shot, one shot, few shot can have 2 to 10 examples. Here no examples, only the wordings are important. Okay, no examples, only wordings are important. Here focus, what is the focus? Focus is generalization. Okay, so there is a specific thing that you want model to do. How well a model can generalize on new thing based on what you have given. Here the importance is giving on interpretation of your instruction. How well model can interpret what is being given in the prompt and follow instructions. Obviously, complexity, there are some problems with in context and prompt engineering both. Hence, I will say high. We will learn more about this when we go on to other lectures related to these things. But I will say high complexity because I am talking about building real world applications, and both these things alone, it's not easy to build a value delivering system. So I will say high complexity, high complexity. For demo purpose, you can say low complexity, but for use purpose, it's high complexity only. One thing to note here, as I told you in the beginning of the video only, through all these things, what we are trying to do is we are trying to make our fresher guy a little more intelligent by feeding some information, by giving some knowledge. The same thing can be done using these 5 techniques, as I told you. Model fine tuning is another area which does that. And how model fine tuning is different from all these things that we have learned is, in none of the technique you are touching the model weights till now in context learning or prompt engineering. Model weights, okay, please pay attention here. model weights are not touched or altered. Whichever model you are using, right? That is the model you are getting from the base thing. That is the only model you are using. You are trying to play around with what you supply. This changes when we go for model fine tuning. So please remember this difference, and this is a very important concept. I plan to create this as my next video, but prompt engineering is itself a very large topic. And in prompt engineering, as I have written here, there are topics such as chain of thoughts, standing for COT, React, DSP, and as I showed you now, some role based, instruction based, systematic based, different kinds of ways in which we can do prompt engineering. So I want your comment on this video. You want me to create next video on model fine tuning, model fine tuning, LLM fine tuning, I mean to say, or you want me to go deeper into prompt engineering? I want you to comment below, and then I will create next video on that. This itself is a huge topic. There are many concepts here. And as I told you, prompt engineering is anyway a big topic. So I will take this notebook, I'll upload it in GitLab. I will try to clean my GitHub, but you will find a GenAI folder where you will find that. If you give me a like and thumbs up and comment and some motivation, guys, that is the motivating factor for me. Keep that coming. See you all in the next video. Wherever you are, stay safe and take care.